Welcome back to the garage, guys. I'm Damien and this is the Binder Builder. On today's video, I'm going to cover some things I probably should have covered in the last video. On the last video, I said I was just going to jump right into the build and start building the A-arm suspension. And that kind of, I realize now that kind of looked like I just threw caution to the wind and didn't do very much planning. Like I said, I had been obsessing over building this suspension for quite a while, and I didn't want you to think that all that entailed was just doodling on a bunch of post-it notes. Truth is, there is a ton of things you need to consider if you're planning on building your own suspension. And while this is in no way supposed to be a masterclass on building suspensions, I do want to cover some basics just in case you are planning or would like to try your hand at building a suspension. If you're asking if I just put my wife's whiteboard in my bench vise, I have no comment. Hopefully she doesn't watch this video and won't find out. But anyway, the biggest thing that the suspension does is it controls the wheel. And now there's three ways that it controls the wheel. Front to back, which means you don't want your tire to move front to back. It needs to keep the wheel centered in the wheel well, right? The other one is side to side. So when you're turning and things of that nature, the wheel needs to be not move this way or that way. So front to back, side to side. Now this is going to be weird to sound, but you gotta want to keep it from spinning as well. How you do that is basically the upper and lower, boy, these pens suck. The upper and lower ball joints, or in my case, I'm going to be using Heims, they hold it. And so when the wheel turns or when I hit the gas, it's not going to move, right? It keeps the rotational forces down. This is also, so like, let's say you hit the gas, right? When you hit the gas, and this is front, oh, the green works good. Okay, so if you hit the gas and the wheel spins, that's it going this way, right? Well, Newton's law, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. That means as you're spinning this way, the rotational force, the equal and opposite reaction, is spinning this way. And that's how you do wheelies. So you hit the gas, whoop, and then what does it do? It picks up the front end. And the reason why it can pick up the front end and just instead of having the tire roll and fly off your car is because it is fixed to the suspension, and the suspension keeps the rotational forces in check. Similarly with the A-arm suspension, this is just a quick top view, but literally the A-arm itself, if you're connecting it to the frame here, this triangle motion not only holds it out the side to side, but it also holds it front to back. And because we're using two A-arms, an upper and lower, it's keeping it from spinning. So as you apply the brakes, or on the back, you apply the gas, these 2 points hold it in place, and therefore it can't twist off your car. What I really want to talk about is the planning that goes into how to find your overall vehicle width. If you're planning out your A-arm suspension, what do you need to figure out? And there's basically 5 measurements that you need if you're trying to figure out your overall width. Well, for me, I'm looking for somewhere in the neighborhood of, we'll just put it down here, 76-ish inches of total width, right? That's what I would like. So the way I go ahead and do that is I need to know key information. First, the bulkhead. How wide is my bulkhead? So like you saw in the last video, I built my bulkhead. I'm using the shackles as my tabs, and they are center to center 6 inches. So this measurement here is 3. So that's because that's only half, right? So you got 3 inches there. The next measurement is your arms themselves, the A-arms. We're going to call that X because that's a variable. I could change that to make it so I hit my number, right? So the A-arm length is from the center of the pivot to the end of the arm. The next one is the ball joints or the heims. I'm using a heim. Some of you guys have arms. You'll see them. I'll put a couple pictures. Some of the arms have the ball joint incorporated in the arm. If that's the case, you just take your overall width of the arm. But because I'm using Weldon bungs, so I go from this point, the end of the arm, to the center of the ball joint or the heim. So this is my heim. Take a measurement from the end of the heim or the end of the Weldon bung to the center of the heim, and that looks like 2 inches to me. So that is 2 inches. Now let's figure out your knuckle. This is the knuckle. Basically, I just got an off-the-shelf buggy knuckle from, this one I got from Apple Tree. They sell them also at Cartech. So you could actually get these wherever you like. Mine has, you get them in different sizes. I got mine in the 2-inch hollow. Now, when you're getting the measurement of the knuckle, you need to have your brakes as well, because what you're going to go from is you're going from the center of the ball joint slash heim to the wheel mounting surface. So I have my brakes here, and this will fit just boom like that. So what I did is I combined my knuckle with the hub and the brakes and everything, and then got the measurement from there. Now, I'm not going to do it good here, but trust me when I tell you it was 5 inches. See if I can get close. Yep, pretty much. Again, I'm going from the center of this to the outward face of this, because this is where my wheel mounts. So that's 5 inches. Again, you're gonna need your hubs and your knuckle to figure that out. I always keep my spindle lock nut on just to protect the threads. So from this point to this point is 5 inches. All right, so we've got the bulkhead, 3 inches, the arms, question mark, ball joints, 2 inches. I should have put that down here, but it doesn't matter. Knuckle, 5 inches. The last one is the wheels and tires. All right, I'm just playing around. Probably notice I do that quite a bit. So I am going to mount this stock rim to my hub. Oh, anyway. So yeah, that's it. So what you want to do is, what we're trying to do is whatever rims that you decide on, these are 15 by 5, I think, or 4. Depends on which side you go on. If you go to the outside, it's 5. If you go onto the inside, it's 4. Okay, so how do you figure out what kind of width you're going to get out of these? So I'm just going to use this as a 5-inch rim, 5-inch wide rim, okay? Even though it's probably 4 because it goes to the inside. But because it's on the outside, you'll see why I'm going to measure from the outside and use that measurement in a second. Now I need to find out what the back spacing is. The back spacing is typically measured and printed in here, but it is, I can't find it. There's too much crap. I need to sandblast this thing in order to see it. So what I do is I find a straight edge, put it down, and I'm measuring to where the tire or the rim is going to sit against the hub. So that is 4 inches. It's a 5-inch wheel with a 4-inch back spacing. That's insane. So 4 inches, right? So you're going to take the width of your rim, which is 5 on this one, and then you're going to subtract the back spacing, which is 4, so that brings that down to 1. And then you need the width of your tire. Whatever you're using on yours, some guys put really skinny tires up front. I'm actually going to go with a 10 to 10 and a half. So if I was going to use this tire or this rim on my setup, I'm going to be using a 35 by 10 tire, right? And the rim, as we just measured it, is 5 inches wide there. okay, how much is this bubble gonna be? So if I got a 10-inch wide tire and a 5-inch wide rim, that means each side is gonna be 2.5 inches bubbled out. All right, guys, I had to take a little bit of a break. Had to warm up my markers. They started to freeze up on me. But anyway, what I was saying is, so since on this setup with the stock rim, 5-inch rim on a 10-inch tire, I'm gonna have a 2.5-inch bulge on each side. You take that 2.5, you add the 1 inch from what was left on the other side of the mounting surface, right? So for me on this setup would be 1 inch plus a 2.5, which gives me a 3.5 wheel mount to the outside of the tire. So now I could plug all that in. All right, so doing the quick math, I want a 76-inch total width, but that's got to be cut in half because we're only dealing with half the suspension. So half of 76 is 38. Now we just fill in the stuff that we have, and actually I'm just going to subtract off the stuff I know, and that will leave me with how long my arm needs to be. So we have the minus 3 inches at the bulkhead for the pivots, minus 2 inches at the heim or the ball joint. I got minus 5 inches for the knuckle, and then minus 3.5 for the stock wheels with a 35 by 10 tire. Okay, and if you subtract all that out, so 3 and 2 make 5, quick math, 5 and 5, it's 10, so that goes to 28. 28 minus 3.5 would be 24.5. So now we know to get a 76-inch wheel mounting width, I need 24.5 inch arms. It's a pretty decent size arm. So should I build my arms at 24.5? And the answer to that question is probably not. And the reason why is this. Different tires and different wheels have different offsets. So let's take another wheel, like I just checked online, a standard or very popular one that we see every day on Baja Bugs, a beadlock, a 15 by 7 that has a different offset, and let's see what that does to the length of our arm. So the wheel that I'm thinking about is a 15 by 7 with a 2.25 offset, okay? If you take a look at our picture, we got a 7-inch rim width from there to there. We still have our 10-inch tire. So a 10-inch tire, the outside, that'd be 3 difference, right? 7 minus 10 or 10 minus 7 is 3. That's 1.5 inches on each side. Now with a 7, if it's 2.25 on this side of the wheel mount, then what's it going to be on this side? It's going to be 4.75, right? So now all of a sudden, we went from a 3.5 on the stock rims to this one is going to be 6.25. So if I built my arms to the stock rims and then switched out to these bead locks I saw online, I would gain 3 inches per side, basically. Well, 2 3/4 inches per side. So that adds basically 5.5. That would take my 76-inch wheel mounting width, outside to outside, to 81.5. Huge difference. And that's the whole reason why I'm going through all of this stuff, because if you're going to be building your own A-arm suspension, you're going to want to set your width. What I did is I went online and I asked for pictures and asked for people's widths and things of that nature, and I kind of decided where I wanted to be. And the Baja Bugs that I seem to like seem to be in that 76-inch range, so that's why I went there. Let me just say, Mrs. Claus loves me. Loves me a lot. Anyway, let's take a look at these actual rims that I'm getting. If you look at this lip and say, hey, that looks a little weird, that's because these are bead locks, and the outer bead will bolt to the bead lock itself. The ring will bolt to this and squish the tire within between these two little nubs. We'll cover that in another video. So anyway, these are, they said they're 15 by 6.5, and that is to the inside okay? Now to the outside, they are, if they have the ring on it, 8. Okay, don't want to screw up the finish. All right, here we go. So I had to keep that on. I want to protect the surfaces. This is a brand new rim. Don't want to screw it up, so I'm going to be super careful here. So let's take a look what the back spacing is. 2 3/4 back spacing. Damn, that's a thick freak. Okay, these rims are thick. I mean, like thick. This inner ledge. Okay, so okay, stock rim. Dude, it's like nothing. It's like a 1/4 inch. Someone told me these were strong rims, and now I kind of agree because that rim is 1 inch thick. It's 1 inch thick aluminum. Hot dang, dude. That is not going anywhere. And it's not just the wheel mounting width, it's the spokes. Yeah, so when they said they're extreme use, one might say that they're ultra strong. So, but anyway, it's 2 3/4. So let's do some math. I'm just going to use round numbers to make it easy. The rim is actually like 7.5, but we're going to call it 8. Okay. The tire is 10. The back spacing was like 2 3/4, but we're just going to call it 3. Okay. So how much is my tire going to stick out past the wheel mounting surface? If it's 8 inches wide, puts 3 on this side, 5 on that side. If it's 8 inches wide and a 10-inch wide tire, each side is going to have an extra inch of bulge. So you add these two up, 6 inches. Let's plug that in. Minus 6, right? So I got 16 minus 38. So my new arm width, if I wanted to do 76 inches, is 22. And that tells me all I need to know to make my arms. So we have 3 plus 22, which is 25, plus 2 is 27, plus 5 is 32, plus 6 is 38. And that times 2, because 1 on each side, gives us our 76. The question is, how big did I make my arms? And my arms are 22.5. In the next video, you'll see me just throwing my arms together, 3 sheaves to the wind type sort of thing. Just like the last video, I just kind of just started building, and with these basic numbers in mind. So I'm going to end up in the neighborhood of 77 to 78 total width on my Baja Bug. Anyway. Sorry for all the verbiage. Sorry there's no fabrication here. I just wanted to show you guys how I figured out my total width of my bug and how I planned it out with my A-arms. If you're building your own A-arms, this is how I recommend you do it. Now, of course, you're now thinking, well, what about the length of the A-arms and the Ackerman angle and the caster and all that other? We'll cover that later. But this is how you get your width. But you'll see as I build the system how you can incorporate those things into your stuff. I appreciate you guys watching this long into the video. And that's all I've got for you this one. And if you do like this content, please go ahead and like, consider subscribing. I'd really like to see your comments and if this was useful. Other than that, I got a special little thing for you. Hold on a sec. YouTube analytics tells me that not everybody watches to the end of my videos. Can you believe it? Some people get maybe a couple of minutes in and then they stop watching. When they do, they miss out on stuff. For those of you guys who stuck around, here are my rims. Mrs. Claus was very, 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 very kind to me. Mrs. Claus likes me a lot. These are Ultra Wheel X103s in a 15 by 6.5. And as you can see, true bead locks. And as you saw from my reaction to the thickness of the metal on these things, this is 1 inch thick, guys. I am not kidding. That is 1 inch thick. Bro, 1 inch thick. These are built to take a beating. The ring on the front of this It's gonna be, oh, it's awesome. I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to anodize it or paint it or what to match the Bug. But if I don't, look at these freaking rims, dude. These things are awesome. Oh, super, super, super happy with these. Thanks, Mrs. Claus. That'd be Christy, my wife. Anyway, anyway, so, but yeah. Oh, look at that. Look at the shine. Looking forward to these, man. Looking forward to these. Oh, it's gonna freaking look awesome. All right. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you on the next one. I'm Damien, and this is the Binder.